now for our interview with local and national hero, celebrity even, Benedick Ashmore Short.
Thanks for chatting to us, Ben.
Pleasure.
First question, how long have you been head teacher at Hamford?
I've now been a head teacher for just over 2 years, so 2 years and a term, so it's still fairly new.
Enjoying it?
Absolutely love it.
Good.
For me, it's the greatest job in the world.
Brilliant.
There's no greater privilege than being allowed to, entrusted to educate someone else's children. So.
That's fantastic. Before you were head teacher here, what were you doing before that?
I used to work on the executive team at Clacton Coastal Academy, so I was
Okay.
in charge of all assessment, recording and reporting across a big secondary school in Clacton, which was about 1,500 pupils,
Wow.
so slightly different to here, but a good grounding, I think, for coming to a primary school.
How many pupils are at Hamford?
We've got quite a few. We've increased our numbers quite a lot recently. We're now 305.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was up from about 260, I think, 2 years ago.
Brilliant. So quite a difference from 1,000 to 300.
Yeah, big difference, but it's nice because you end up knowing every child's name, which I
Yeah.
think in bigger schools it's tougher to do that.
What drove you to become a head teacher then?
It's a good question. It's really a simple kind of motivation for me, which is you want to change society, you want to make the world a better place. I think the only place you can do that is by kind of being in education and getting the children as young as you can. I think education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. I think Gandhi said, and I think it's very true. So you want to be in trying to improve society for future generations. That's why I became a head teacher.
That's awesome. And Hamford specifically, was that?
Hamford was it was on its knees and it was really struggling. It hadn't been a good school for at least 30 years, and in Ofsted terms, but also had spent 3 years in a category and in special measures, and it was really struggling, and it felt that way. So it was a chance to come and make a huge difference and turn it round. We've had some real success over the last 2 years, and we're now nationally recognised, and lots of people are coming to see what we've done in order to be successful. So it was a good challenge, and I think a challenge is important. I think you make the biggest difference where a school is finding the toughest times.
You kind of touched upon it, but why are you so passionate about education?
Because it changes the world. I think it's easy as a teacher to think, okay, well, that didn't go as well as I hoped, the school's doing okay, but for the children in that education system, they don't ever get to do it again. So you'll never get another January the 15th in year 4 again. That's gone, and you've now moved on with your life. So you have to make sure that learning opportunity and what that children gets is the very best you can possibly offer, not just nationally but also internationally. So children deserve that, and that's why I think that's the passion that you want to bring to it.
Brilliant.
What's the secret to your success then with the school here?
It's nice to feel a little bit of success. I think we're on the start of a journey, and a very long journey. I think the secret has been, which is unusual, people often talk about when you go into a school that's in special measures, holding people to account, more monitoring, more judgment. But actually, we did the exact opposite. We released the pressure, and I think what I attempted to do is try and bring Christian values into leadership in a school, to care for the individual, to look after the people. And I always talk about the idea of there being a flame of learning, and when you start in teaching, you're passionate about educating children, and that's a flame that burns bright inside your heart. And I think in schools that are struggling, what happens is, because of Ofsted, because of all the times they're being hit with a stick, because of all the negativity, all the tough, the hours, that flame gets slowly extinguished. And I think it's my job to try and bring back that flame, to kind of flame the furnace and get teachers feeling passionate again. There was a teacher of great experience who said to me recently, I feel like an NQT again, but an NQT with lots of experience. And I think that's what you want to try and bring back. And it's also, the way you do it is by bringing those kind of Christian values of care and compassion for the individual, and bringing the best out of the individual. And it's just it's liking people, treating people well, making people smile, making people feel good about themselves. There's a phrase again that I use a lot, which is that actually, as a leader in a school, you are the guardian of other people's self-esteem. So every conversation you have with someone can have a huge effect on how they feel about themselves in their professional life. And I think it's important that you understand that in every conversation, and even if there's a difficult message to deliver, that you deliver it in the right way.
So simple but so effective.
Yeah, definitely.
Ben, can you identify the most important changes at Hamford within the last year or so?
Yeah, the last year or so. So we moved out of special measures fairly quickly. Our aim is to provide a child-centred education. So it's not about providing an education dictated to by adults.
Yeah.
It's about and not something that the government say that we should be doing. It's doing it because the children of Hamford need it. And we focus on 2 key areas in terms of teaching and learning, and people jazz up and can make teaching very difficult. But actually, if you engage all children and you challenge all children, they will achieve. And so we've had a huge focus on teaching and learning. We have the Hamford Teaching and Learning blog, which is a one-stop shop, a website for all teachers actually across the country to access and have a look and build upon their own skills in pedagogy. But we also focus very much on creating deep learning experiences. So that's been a huge change and a mindset change. And the other thing is we've looked at a lot of work by Professor Carol Dweck, who talks about growth mindsets. So it's about children believing that they can achieve anything, that not believing that intelligence, if you like, is fixed or a skill is fixed, that actually you can achieve anything, and the way you achieve it is through hard work. So if I can give you a quick example, because it's something that we pushed at school, and I think it's something that parents actually get wrong, and I'm a parent and I get it wrong, which is often when we're praising children, we always praise the talent. So if a child draws a picture, you might say, "That's a wonderful picture, aren't you a talented artist?" Which seems the most natural thing to say, but what you're doing with that child is you're creating a fixed mindset. You're giving them a talent and you're telling them they're talented, so when they are given a harder task, they don't want to attempt it because they don't want to look like they can fail and that they're not talented. So the aim that we're trying to achieve, and we're trying to run it throughout the school, is that you praise the effort and the process rather than the outcome and the talent, so that a child, when they're given a harder task, will then go even stronger at that harder task because they know it's hard work that made them successful, not an inherent talent. And that's a huge mind shift and something we've really struggled with, but I think it's had a massive effect, and we're now trying to work with parents to engender that kind of growth mindset model.
Excellent, that's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you really hit upon something there.
Yeah, it's brilliant stuff.
You won Head Teacher of the Year award. I'm presuming most people know this.
Yeah.
How did that feel like to win that?
Hugely humbling and embarrassing, I think, in some ways. There's the success to even have an award. I think to have a Head Teacher of the Year is quite an odd thing. It's brilliant because it's a celebration of teaching, and I think the teaching awards are a great event because we're celebrating people around the country. But it doesn't make you the best head teacher in the country. It means that hopefully a few people have thought you've done a nice job, and they've popped into the school and seen that we've managed to turn it round. It was humbling because the school improvement is about everybody in the school, and I think so. I saw it very much as an award for Hamford, but it also gives you a nice voice on a national platform, which is quite good. So I think 2 years ago, when we were I was talking about the things that perhaps we should be trying to achieve in the schools, no one was interested. So you're just a new head teacher in a school that's in special measures, and therefore in Ofsted terms an inadequate leader. So it's nice to have some recognition in terms of the way the school's going, and I think it's a nice kind of line in the sand as to this is where we've come, this is how far we've come. And actually we can use that as a lever, if you like, to support other schools and support improvement across the whole of the Tendring Peninsula, which needs it. But it was it's an amazing event, and it was nice to be given such an award.
What was the best thing about the experience?
The nice thing was seeing the look on the children's faces. I think when we were up at the Olympic Park and I got awarded with it, the children just were so happy. And actually watching BBC Two and watching Hamford on BBC Two, and I think the opening shot of Britain's Classroom Heroes was the gates of Hamford being open and the children charging into the school. And I think at that moment I kind of thought that's the best, isn't it? Because we've got a bit of publicity, and we've got some of that celebration that Hamford, you know what, we're doing right things, and we're battling against the nature of coastal schools, particularly around the east, really underperforming. So it was nice to say, do you know what, there's some really good success stories out there, and seeing Hamford on BBC Two was fantastic.
It's brilliant.
Absolutely. What developments have you been working on since the award, and what's current? What's the...
It's constant improvement. So we have completely redesigned our curriculum. So it's around a child-centred curriculum, which is about creating deep learning experiences. Our curriculum flows directly into the curriculum at Tendring Technology College. So we're starting to look at a model of learning where we're looking at progression, skills progression from the age of 4 all the way up to the age of 18. So no longer is it primary, secondary. Actually, it's a generational journey of that child through education, making sure that the two are joined up and that there's really current thinking. We've also written a brand new assessment model, as the government have completely changed the fact that levels are going. So we're looking at a model that works really closely, and actually that the child is at the centre of that model of assessment, so the children know what they need to do and they take ownership of their learning. It's not something that's done to them, it belongs to them, their learning, and I think that's a very powerful thing. The other thing we're constantly redeveloping the site, redeveloping the school.
Have a look around. It looks so different when I was here, when I was younger.
Looks amazing, and probably you're a bit bigger as well, I think.
Yeah.
But not much.
Might be that.
But we've had some wonderful photos put up around the school of the children in action, and it's just kind of trying to create a Disneyland of learning. That's what we're trying to do all the time. So it is a constant pursuit. The other thing we're doing is we're working very closely with the Tendring Teaching School Alliance, which I think is a massive lever for this area. And what happened in Tower Hamlets probably about 10 years ago was that the whole area was transformed from the worst performing area in the country to one of the best performing areas, and it was through meaningful collaboration, not competition, and schools really driving to be the best. And I think what we're trying to create through the Tendring Teaching School Alliance is that meaningful collaboration, so that the whole Tendring Peninsula becomes a real beacon for the whole country in terms of performance.
Brilliant. Disneyland learning, is what you said?
A Disneyland of learning.
Disneyland of learning, that does sound good.
Yeah, so we tried to create it in early years, so that actually, when you go to Disneyland, you walk in and as a child, even as an adult, your eyes just open up. You are so excited to be there.
Yeah.
And actually, when you walk into school, that's what you want to create. So that actually, you walk into school and you are just so excited to be there that actually you know how many exciting things you're going to do. So it's that Disneyland factor. That's what a school should be, a Disneyland of learning.
Yeah, like first impression of a school. Like really
everything.
exciting.
Yeah, just you want to be there. So, and at the end of the day, you don't want to go home because you love being at school, and that's how school should be.
In what ways are Hamford involved with the community?
So we go out and we've done an awful lot with the community. We do a lot with Claxton Books. We do a lot with a lot of the businesses in Frinton have generously donated money towards our library project. We then invited them back into the school to kind of work alongside and have a look at what we're doing. And so there's that community involvement. We've also done some work with the Rotary, and the Rotary have been very generous in coming forward and giving us some money towards some of our building works. So we've involved them. We also outreach particularly to Walton Food Bank. So we raise a lot of money for Walton Food Bank, and we buy food and it sits with the bank. So actually they can give it to parents at the weekend. And also churches. So we did the Christmas shoebox appeal with Homelands Church, and that went over to Romania. And we also have Frinton Free Church who come in and do our breakfast club. So we're trying to outreach to the community as much as we can. I have a phrase again that I always use, but I talk about a school being being a catalyst for building social capital. And if you're going to build social capital, you need to make a school a community school, so that actually people are coming in and out and everybody's involved in the process, and therefore that school can spark, if you like, the improvement around the whole of the community. So that's what we're trying to do. Yeah.
Awesome. You mentioned it a little bit already. I can't remember what you called it, the Tendring something or other of schools.
The Tendring Teaching School Alliance.
So the question was just literally about what the network of schools is, like primary schools around here, and how do they work together? How does that work?
Yeah, really closely. The Tendring Teaching School Alliance is a soft alliance, if you like. So it's not about grabbing people and saying you have to be part of us. It's headed up by Tendring as an outstanding school. They've got teaching school status. 7 secondary schools, 1 special school, and 10 primary schools. Every school around this area is part of it, and we're starting to work very, very closely together. It's called the Big Six, and there's 6 big areas that you work on, but a lot of it is about succession planning and talent management. It's about improving the quality of teaching and learning through effective CPD. It's just meaning that schools, instead of competing against each other and trying to get high up a league table against another school, actually you're coming together in an honest dialogue and looking at how you can help each other to improve. And I think we all know, don't we, in society, that when people come together, instead of competing with each other, everything becomes better as a result. And so that the Tendring Teaching School Alliance has been fantastic for improving that dialogue and starting to bring the schools together to improve the entire area.
Brilliant. Ben, just coming away from school, what is your favourite thing about the Tendring area?
The beach.
Yeah, it's a popular choice.
It's a popular choice. I'm a beach bum. Live very close to the beach. Walk along the beach. Run along the beach. Swim in the sea. Just want to be in the water as often as I can. I think the other thing that I absolutely love is the community feel that you get. It's not a rambling big group of people that don't come together. Yeah. It's a group of people that care about the community, care about where they are, and actually it's small enough so that everybody can do something which is meaningful. And I think when people come together, the world can do something special, and that's what we can do on a local level at Tendring.
Absolutely. Where do you like to eat in Tendring?
It's a very good question. I'm going to start by answering at my house because my wife's an amazing cook.
Good answer.
Probably the right
Good
answer.
Which is the right answer. But if my wife is out with the choir or doing something different, then Piatto's is always quite a good option, and Avenues. And I think we'll try eating anywhere, really. I'm a big fan of food generally. So.
Excellent. And final question, Ben. Anything you'd like to say to Local Presence listeners?
I want to say well done to both of you, because I think, first of all, Local Presence is a fantastic idea. I think it's really good. And again, it's working to bring the community together. And I also want to say just a huge thank you for everyone who has been involved with any school, not just Hamford, but anyone who's a governor, anyone who's a parent, anyone who comes in and supports or donates or spends their time in a school reading to a child. And long may it continue. And we hope to see you someday at Hamford.
Brilliant. Thanks for chatting to us, Ben.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Really
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that.